네가 울고 싶지 않아 울고 싶지 않아 눈물은 많지만
Hello everyone and welcome back to Some Wanna Cry. As you probably guessed, I am Jaxn. Liz is currently sleeping in the other room. She will be joining us shortly. This video is going to be the first of the discussion type videos that we're going to be doing a lot of on the channel, and this one is going to be talking about the strongest K-pop debuts. Oh my gosh, we just made this channel and we're already going to make people upset. Oh, this is going to go great. They say your first impression means everything. And in the world of K-pop, this is definitely true. A group's debut song can often make or break how successful they'll be in the future. And a group's debut concept is pivotal in determining how they'll be perceived by the community at large. If these things are done incorrectly, then it can take years to recover. We've all witnessed the good, the bad, and the ugly of debuting groups. However, every so often, there is a debut that just hits it right out of the park. A song that does everything right and stays relevant for years to come. And it's these songs that we're going to be talking about today, the strongest K-pop debuts. We wanted to keep this list at least somewhat objective, so we came up with some loose criteria to build it around. The first criteria is that the song should be a noteworthy part of their discography. For a song to be noteworthy, it has to be one that still sticks out in their discography, and one that would be known by people that don't stand that particular group. The second criteria is that the song had to put the group on the map. Now, that may seem really obvious because, yeah, it's a debut song. Of course, it's supposed to do well. However, the problem with that is that it doesn't always work out that way. The fact is, a group debuting under a big three company, or really any company with a lot of resources, is going to do well regardless of how their debut is. But if they're not from a company with a lot of resources to push them, then it's going to be really hard for them to break out and find success, especially with the ever-growing sea of new groups and new companies popping up. Building off of that, the song should also have been received well at the time and should still be looked upon positively today. And finally, the song should have established a strong foundation for the group's concept moving forward. I should note that the list is not in any particular order. This is kind of just a collection of the strongest K-pop debuts according to those outlines, and also just our opinions. Anyways, that's enough of me rambling, let's just get into it. Lovely. So it's me from the future. When we uploaded this video the first time, this section had the music video playing in the background like all the other sections do, but for whatever reason, it got the video blocked. So we had to make some changes, and it's just the dance practice for the song playing, but it should be fine. Thank you for your understanding and have a great video experience.
Hey yo, yep.
Hey guys, my name is Liz, and I'm the other half of this channel, here to talk about why Adore You is my favorite K-pop debut in history. As Jaxn said, first impressions really do matter in the K-pop industry, and besides the instrumental, our first impression of this song is the little whispering at the beginning, which is really unique and catches your attention. And the little 17 tagline lets you know who the song is by, and it's just a really cute addition. In terms of the instrumental, the little guitar and the soft rock type of drum, bass, and just electric guitar elements are so unique, especially in this era. And the outfits and styling really solidify that kind of boyfriend concept that 17 really helped pioneer in the industry, and they really made a name for themselves in this way. The last few things I have to talk about are the point choreography, like the thing that they do on the Akinda. It's just so perfect, so cute, so easy for people to do. Like if you just want to sit and jam to the song, you can easily do it. And as well as the melody, you can just sing along to that really easy. For international fans, the short, easy syllables are super easy to sing along to, and it's just a fun time all around.
Also, appreciation for this goofy-ass music video.
Adore You represents the perfect debut song in my opinion. Liz just finished explaining why it's an amazing song overall. However, it also functions as a strong debut, with Monse and Pretty You both holding on to that new boyfriend concept that 17 basically invented. But of course, I think we all know that the real reason this debut is so good is because of long-haired Vernon!
I'm so stupid.
Blackpink in your area.
Blackpink in your area. It should come as no surprise that Boombaya is on this list, considering how much it blew up upon its initial release in 2016. In fact, Boombaya is still the third most viewed Blackpink music video, right behind I don't know. This song shook the foundation of the K-pop industry for years to come, and gave rise to the most prolific K-pop group in history. Now, we're going to talk more about Blackpink and its effects on the K-pop industry in a separate video, but it goes without saying that Blackpink is one of the biggest names in K-pop history, and this is where it all started, putting Boombaya on this list.
내 삶은 밑바닥 난 떨어지 어두운 터널 속을 걷고 있어 내게 잔인하고 두려운 하루를 홀로 버티고 있어
I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty hesitant to put Elevator on this list simply because of how convoluted Stray Kids' debut situation is. And while not being their official debut, it was the first time that we saw Stray Kids, and I love this song to death, so we're gonna talk about it. While Stray Kids' sound and their concept has always been evolving and changing, one thing that has always stayed consistent is the grassroots EDM style that they've been known for. And Elevator is where it all started, with a future bass, progressive house, drum step, dubstep, somewhere in that spectrum EDM sound. It really introduced new styles of EDM into K-pop. It's still one of the most unique songs you can find in my opinion, and at the time especially so, with Elevator receiving lots of praise from Stray Kids' peers, including a lot of other idols that had been in the game for a while. Overall, Elevator really broke the mold for what the K-pop sound could be, and for that reason, and the influence that that's had on K-pop today, it's on this list. When it comes to meeting our criteria of setting the concept, Everglow hits it perfectly with one of the most consistent discographies I've ever seen. Yet somehow, every comeback feels new and different. Everglow, upon their debut, was up against some tough competition at the time. I mean, they were competing with Luna, IZ*ONE, G-Idol, and ITZY. Some of those groups had just debuted around this time as well, giving them some stiff competition. However, Everglow persisted, and along with those previously mentioned, has risen to become one of the most iconic 4th-gen girl groups. Bonbon Chocolat itself represents the peak of the K-pop girl crush concept, as well as that being Everglow's concept in general. And since then, many other 4th-gen girl groups have tried this concept with differing amounts of success, but still, Everglow created an image that was very desirable for other groups to replicate, and that says a lot. You know, as far as K-pop debuts go, this has got to be one of the most important of all time. The Seventh Sense, the iconic debut of NCT, one of the most important groups in all of K-pop history. For as big of a project as NCT was and still is, of course its debut had to be big. It had to make an impact, and The Seventh Sense certainly did back in 2016. Our first criteria for this list was that the song should be a noteworthy part of the group's discography, and this is a perfect example of such, because, like it or not, this is still one of their best songs, if not their best song. Fight me. Regardless, if you want to talk about a great way to debut, look no further than NCT. I mean, The Seventh Sense broke the mold of what it meant to be a K-pop song, like many of the other entries on this list. I mean, if we're being real, this isn't even pop. What with its psychedelic riffs and its dark atmosphere, this is about as far from pop as you can get. But if we're being honest, I think we all know that the real reason this is on this list is because of coming in next on our list, and the newest song to be here, is 11 by IVE. IVE jumped onto the scene in late December of 2021, and immediately they took over the internet. The music video has 144 million views in just 7 months. Not only that, but 11 set the record for the most amount of music show wins for a girl group debut song at 13 wins. And it was also the fastest girl group debut song to win a music show award, stealing that record from Dalla Dalla. So if this doesn't say strong debut, then what does? Now, to be fair, music show wins don't mean the same thing to everybody, and I'm one of those people. So, for those of you out there who couldn't give less of a shit, consider the fact that 11 came out right in the middle of the Girls Planet 999 hype train, and Kepler were literally set to make their debut 2 weeks later. All eyes were on them, and then 11 comes out basically out of nowhere, steals half the spotlight, and continues to do so into the next year. Unless I need say more, I think 11 has more than earned its place on this list. Before we get into our final pick, I want to quickly discuss a few honorable mentions. Crown was super close to making the cut, but when I went to Liz to ask for her to do a segment on it, she said, I don't really think it's that special of a debut, and since she is a pre-debut MOA, her word on this subject is gospel. Like Uwa, despite being a solid debut, was compromised by the fact that Twice's next 3 comebacks were all radically inconsistent in their concepts. My reasoning here may seem a little bit strange, but the way I see it is this. If JYP themselves didn't see their debut as strong enough to build off of and immediately change things up, then why should we regard it as anything more? I really wanted to include Happiness for the sole reason of it's one of the most unique debut songs you'll find, one of the most unique K-pop songs you'll find, and in my opinion, one of Red Velvet's best. However, Red Velvet, of course, infamously re-debuted when Yeri was old enough to join the group, and this has long raised the question, should Happiness be considered their debut, or should we consider Ice Cream Cake their debut? Now, you could raise this question with Stray Kids and Elevator versus District 9, but the difference between that and this is while Elevator had a definite impact on K-pop, Happiness, and to a lesser extent Ice Cream Cake, didn't really. And on top of that, nobody really talks about the early era of Red Velvet nearly as much as their newer stuff. That's gonna happen with any group, but it's to such a point that I feel like a lot of Red Velvet's early discography has been forgotten. When most people think of Red Velvet, they think of the silly, goofy, Oompa Oompa Zimzalabim amusement park group. The point that I'm trying to make is that one of the criteria for this list is that the debut should have been remembered past its era in some capacity, and I just feel like Happiness, as much as I would like it to be remembered, just isn't. When I found a version of this music video that still had the original intro, I almost cried, and I think there are a lot of you who are in that same camp with me. And now we conclude this list with definitively the strongest debut in K-pop history. Into the New World by Girls' Generation is the single most important song in the history of K-pop. Nothing will ever top this, or at least not for a very long time. And the reason why is because of the cultural impact that it had in Korea itself. I'll probably never understand why this song was as impactful as it was, but it probably has something to do with the lyrics being about the hopeful optimism of entering a new world where you can make your own way. Girls' Generation set the mold for what it meant to be a K-pop girl group and paved the way for every girl group moving forward. They were the first nation's girl group, and while that title has since passed on to Twice and will probably pass on to someone else soon, they were the first, and they got it started. But coming back around, Into the New World has done what only the best in music are able to do. It has taken on an identity of its own, apart from the group or people that made it. In South Korea, this song is treated basically as a second national anthem, with it being played at protests, rallies, gatherings, and even being performed by many other girl groups throughout history to show homage to the history and the culture of Korean music, which I will now demonstrate because we're at the chorus. And there are definitely way more examples than just that, but that should show you that this song means way more to the Korean people than just being an iconic girl group song. This is part of their cultural identity, and that is what a strong debut should be. Obviously, not every song on this list has reached that mark, but they don't have to. This is the greatest of them all, and it always will be. And just as a side note, ever since I first heard this song back in 2019 when I first got into K-pop, I don't know what it is about this song. Like, I'm sure many of you can relate, but this song has almost always just made me cry. Like, it's just so beautiful. Like, it's a full Korean song. There's not a word of English in it, but it still conveys such emotion that you can't help but understand what they're on about. And I just think that that's fantastic. As far as a musical piece goes, this is one of the all-time greats, Western, Korean, or otherwise. And that is our list of the strongest K-pop debuts according to us. Let us know what you think of this list in the comments. We might eventually make a part 2. As you can tell by my haircut, this video has been in production for about 3 weeks, on and off production. As we start to post more regularly, it definitely won't be like that. We'll definitely work on it more regularly. It's a slow start, but hopefully you guys will stick around for more because we really enjoy making content. This isn't about making YouTube into a job or anything. No, none of that. We just really like making stuff that people enjoy. So as long as someone's enjoying it, we're still gonna do it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and hopefully you're gonna stick around for more to see what we do next. The next video should be about K-pop songs that were inspired by Western music. So expect that sometime in the next few weeks, and I'll see you then. Bye. I'll think of something.
날 속여줘 this time.